Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Smith and Wiggins Show.
And I'm Smith.
And I'm Wiggins, and we're very glad you're here today. We've got an exciting program for you and a very special guest. But first and foremost...
Oh, who are we powered by today?
We are powered today by Piedmont Business Associates of York County. They're a local networking group in York County in South Carolina. Actually, our guest and myself both happen to be members of that, so we're very excited to be powered by them today. We hope you'll go check them out. We'll give you some more information on how to find them, follow them, etc. a little bit later in the program. So our guest today is Dr. Brandan Lee. Dr. Lee is actually a holistic chiropractor, and we want to welcome you to the show, Brandan. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be with you.
Well, we're glad. I know one of the missions that Dr. Lee has right now is that he has got not only a great product, but he's got a mission behind his intent to sell this product. But bigger than that, actually, is that he actually wants to be on multiple podcasts. So we are like, his stepping stones, and we're going to help him get onto other podcasts and maybe as he networks, we'll get to network too.
I like being a stepping stone.
And you don't mind being a stepping stone?
Just use us. It's okay.
That's right. So as a holistic chiropractor, Mr. Lee, what is your mission? What is your intent for how you approach client and patient services?
Well, it's a great question. So I've been a chiropractor for over 12 years now, and the mission has always been to just help people. I've known since I was early in high school that I wanted to be a chiropractor. Like everyone in my family was helped by a chiropractor as I was a child growing up. My sister, myself, amazing testimonies that way. And yeah, I've just always had a desire to help people with their health.
Okay, well, that's phenomenal. Now, that has kind of bled over, though, into some social justice issues for you.
Yeah.
And since you have a mission to help people, and I love one of the things I have I have the privilege of actually being the president or the current president of the Piedmont Business Associates. And one of the things that I love doing is that Brandan, no matter what energy we have in the room, Brandan just brings it up a whole nother level. As soon as he starts talking, he's like, "Well, good morning, everybody." So that's what I love about Brandan. But how has that bled over? When did you start having a sense that your mission in life actually had a greater purpose than just even helping people?
Well, so I'm a father, and I had a certain view of what human trafficking was. I'd seen movies like Taken, and I kind of knew that was happening in the world. But the real turning point was in 2015. I attended a conference specifically about human trafficking, and it was one of these experiences that just kind of like blew my mind, and it really opened my eyes to the enormity of this problem called human trafficking and the complexity of this problem called human trafficking. And I think a lot of people were like I was before I went to that conference. They don't realize that this is happening not just in third world countries across the planet, but right here in our backyard. Yeah. And there's just a quick stat is so when I attended that conference in 2015, they estimated that just over 20 million people were trapped in human trafficking. And now in 2018, the number is over 40 million. So in the past 4 years, it's doubled.
That's staggering.
Wow.
That's absolutely staggering.
Yeah. And
as a mom and grandma.
Why do you say that? My grandma. Do I look like I'm 29?
You're a young grandma.
Yeah, grandma 15. And
there you go.
And when I'm listening to you, my heart is going, wow, what if that happened to one of my babies? And so I'm sure we're going to have to be talking way more about this conversation, but what do we do to be aware? What are signs? What are things that we need to know to make sure that isn't happening?
Well, it's a complex problem. One of the things that I've really learned in the past several years is, there's a certain impression that it's like girls being kidnapped out of their homes, right? And that's not really such the case. A lot of times it's, I don't know all the proper terms, but a lot of times people, especially young women from underprivileged backgrounds, are kind of like reeled in, or they're kind of coaxed into, they call it the life.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's hard to imagine that, being sold on the street could be better than the situation you grew up in. But sometimes that's what's happening is they're in a situation where they have a roof over their head and they're getting fed a little bit, but it's still, they're being sold on the street. So, yeah, it's very complex, and obviously we want to probably keep this podcast G-rated, so
Right.
we can keep it family friendly, but it's a big problem.
Yeah.
And there are great websites like the Polaris Project website that you can learn some of the warning signs to be aware of as upstanding citizens we are.
And you can find just a website, the Polaris Project, right?
Yeah. Yep. The PolarisProject.org.
Okay.
Perfect.
We'll definitely tag that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Wow.
So, as a dad, one of the things that you and I have had time to talk about, actually, Brandon, is the fact that, you did say, and you are the dad of the little girls, we have said that our instinct is to be very protective, especially of little girls. But we got to understand, this isn't just a little girl or a young girl thing. This is every gender, every age kind of possible thing here.
That is true. Yes. Yeah. I mean, girls, boys, anyone can be trafficked. The majority of the cases of human trafficking are females and usually, unfortunately, minors. Often it's girls under age 18. So I think I tend to refer to it as females because I have daughters. So my heart breaks that way.
Sure, absolutely.
This is very overwhelming.
Yeah.
This is overwhelming. I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, let's apply some other names to this, because human trafficking seems like a removal for me. You hear about it, as you said, in third world countries, so we've never really thought about it. But it's kidnapping, it's slavery, it's all of those things.
Absolutely.
And that's what just kind of
it's rape. It's it's all those things. It's a mental and emotional and physical abuse. It's
modern day slavery is what it is.
It is modern day slavery.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to, I guess I do want to startle people into action, but I don't want to startle people in the sense too, we have, thankfully now, our reach has, through our podcast, and we're very grateful for this, we actually now are just reaching, overseas and, and all across the United States and everything like that. So we're having a great time with that. But for us, we're based, and we've told people this before, we are based in Charlotte, North Carolina, or just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, actually. And that is on the border between Mecklenburg counties and York County, where, again, we have our networking group that Brandon and I are both part of. But one of the things that's very startling about that, and I don't know, do you know the current statistics about the Charlotte area, Brandon?
They keep changing every year. I don't know exactly, but I know that the Charlotte metro area is a major hub on the East Coast for human trafficking.
Yeah. At one point, we were number 2 in the nation, right? At one point, we were?
Yes, I think so. Maybe number 2 for the East Coast. But
East Coast, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. And we just go about our daily lives never thinking to be aware.
Yeah.
Because what bad's going to happen, right? It's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to my family. Isn't that how people think? Until it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And it requires people committed to not only their own family safety, but the safety of the families around them, the people that they come in contact with.
I mean, I have 15 grandchildren.
15.
And 9 of them are girls. So it's very, I'm just sitting here, all of that's popping into my head. How often I heard a friend of mine talk about that she almost got shoved into a van in a mall parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And she fought them off. and she did not get, she was like 24, something like that at that time. And she had parked out at the end of the parking lot because she had bought a new car, didn't want to get it dinged. And the van was parked on the lower side of her. So when they grabbed her from her door, they were able to shove her toward the open door of the van. And she just fought them off. So she got lucky.
Unfortunately, you know, one of the things that we're talking about, and then we have to take a station break real quick here, but one of the things that we talk about so much is that it's not just a kidnapping process, it's a luring process. It's a, hey, I'm going to pay attention to you because your parents don't, or your life situation doesn't provide you the attention that you want, that I'm going to give you this attention. And then the next thing you know, or they know, they're in a situation that they can't get out of. And then they go through a whole brainwashing process too on top of it. So yeah, it's big stuff. Well, this has been a very sober topic, and we are talking with Dr. Brandan Lee. He is a holistic chiropractor, also obviously a huge activist for working with people and organizations about human trafficking. You have been listening to the Smith and Wiggins Show. We'll be right back with Dr. Brandan Lee and more about this powerful topic. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey everybody, Wiggins here, wanting to talk to you really quickly about Piedmont Business Associates of York County. I encourage you to go to pbaofyorkcounty.com to check out our website and learn more. Learn about our meetings, learn about the industry slots that need filled in our group currently, and learn about the professionals who are committed to being there, referring each other business week after week. Dr. Lee and I both attend as much as possible, and we share this commitment in a family-friendly environment where we're committed to each other and to the professionalism that we all believe in. Please go to pbaofyorkcounty.com. Thanks so much for listening today, and now back to the show.
Well, welcome back everybody to the Smith and Wiggins Show.
I'm Smith.
And I am Wiggins, and we are powered today by Piedmont Business Associates of York County. Really quickly, if you're interested and live in the Charlotte metro area and would be interested in joining a great networking group or just coming and visiting a great networking group, you can find us on the web at pbaofyorkcounty.com. We meet every Thursday morning in York County, in Rock Hill. So, all right, guys, coming back to our conversation with Dr. Brandan Lee, who is both holistic chiropractor and activist based in human trafficking. And I mean by that is that is his main thing that he dwells on through his activism. Dr. Lee, again, thank you for being here. We're glad you're here today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So one of the things that Smith and I were talking about, along with you on the break, was the fact that you have aligned yourself with organizations and you have aligned yourself with different things in order to actually do something actively to help with the crisis. I'm going to call it a crisis.
It's a crisis.
Yeah, it is.
Tell us a little more about some of those organizations.
Well, there's see, that's the thing, is there are some great organizations that are making a difference, right? There are local organizations, there's international organizations. The A21 campaign is an international nonprofit that fights human trafficking. They have, I don't know what you would call it, but offices or facilities in Greece and in Thailand and Los Angeles and other parts of the world. The Polaris Project is an amazing organization. They are responsible for the human trafficking hotline, which doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but the hotline is probably one of the best sources for developing statistics right now about human trafficking. So that is something that victims of human trafficking can call, or if you or I spot something that is suspicious, we can call, and it's basically just a great way to, the hotline is a very valuable tool. And then there's so many other organizations.
Okay. You're involved in local organizations though yourself.
Yeah, so actually I sit on the board of the first nonprofit specifically for York County to address human trafficking right here.
What's the name of that organization, Brad?
It's called A New Creation.
Okay, A New Creation. And I know that I've actually spoke with your director of that organization, and she's talked about how you have definite goals and different things like that within the organization. But one of the things you do is that different volunteers actually visit event sites and things like that where they might actually lure young people into situations.
Yes. Yeah. So, a lot of people don't realize this, but major events that bring a lot of tourism into town, they're great, financially for the city, but they're often a site for human trafficking to happen. So, for example, no offense to the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl is often, I don't know how to word this exactly, but there's often a lot of human trafficking in and around wherever the Super Bowl is held. And so, for example, right here in the town that I'm in right now, which is called Rock Hill, we have a world-class BMX facility. And so there's a major BMX competition here, and it brought people from all over the world. And one of the things that the nonprofit that I'm a part of is we actually stationed a team of people to just be on the lookout and be a presence at that facility, or at that competition, just to kind of do everything we could to prevent something from happening.
So, Dr. Lee, when your team is there at an event like that, what are they looking for?
Well, I'll tell you. So, and this actually happened, is this little teenage girl was kind of flirting with this 30-year-old man, and everyone from my organization that was there just had a weird feeling about it. And, maybe everything was fine. Maybe it was all legit, but maybe it wasn't. And so one of our volunteers just kind of struck up a conversation with the girl just to make sure she was okay, kind of check in with her and be like, are you safe? And do you know this guy? And those kind of things. So it's kind of being aware of situations like that. Just looking for things that look sketchy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, does A New Creation have a website?
Yes, they do.
And what's the website address, if you know?
So I would just Google it. If you Google A New Creation of York County, you'll find it.
Okay, perfect. A New Creation of York County.
Okay.
I'm in that generation that just Googles everything.
Ask Google, it knows it. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so everything, though, has kind of culminated for you in action that you are taking personally, beyond being an activist, beyond being a member of a board, that helps direct the direction of that particular organization, on and on and on. But this is kind of funneled into something for you personally. Now, what is that? What is that product that you are using to get the word out?
Well, I'll tell you let me tell you the quick history is. Okay. Almost a year ago, so Christmas time last year, I read a book called Start Something That Matters. And it's by the founder of Tom's Shoes. You guys familiar with Tom's Shoes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm actually wearing one of their shoes right now. So the guy that started Tom's Shoes, his name is Blake Mycoskie, and he wrote this book. It's the story of how he started the company, and it totally blew my mind. So this was Christmas time last year, and their concept is you buy a pair of their shoes, and then they give a pair of shoes to a child in need somewhere in the world. And I think what struck me about that is they're using an everyday commodity like shoes. Right? Everyone has shoes. Everyone buys shoes. Every single day, people are buying shoes in this country. And so they took an everyday simple thing like a great pair of shoes, and they're using it as a platform for charity, for doing good. Mm-hmm. And so, so I thought, man, what could I do? What's something that, I'm not passionate about shoes the way that she was. So I don't want to start a shoe company, but for over a decade, I've been preaching about nutrition and vitamin D. And I am passionate about vitamin D, and I've been teaching my patients to take it for years.
Right.
And so I thought, well, what if I could use the sale of vitamin D as a way to fund the fight against human trafficking? And so I started this company called Vitamin D to the Rescue.
Right. Yeah. And so vitamin D is not only for your health, but it's for the health of others. Literally, their actual physical, mental, emotional well-being. Now, just for a plug here. So I have both the drops and the pills here, and the capsules, I should say. So I definitely have these products. I take them all the time. This
one of my favorite customers.
Huh?
One of my favorite customers.
There you go. There you go.
So, okay. So if I had these, if I bought these from you, how does the proceeds go to what you're doing? Tell me your mission.
Well, so the mission is, so for every bottle of vitamin D that we sell, we give at least $5 to organizations that fight human trafficking. Now, I know that, depending upon someone's background in the supplement world, they might feel like $5 is not that much. But by the time we factor in all the expenses for this bottle, it's over half of the profit margin for this bottle. And so that's it. That is the concept. Is they estimate that 40% of the American population is deficient in vitamin D. And so there are millions of people not only taking vitamin D, but there's also millions of people who should be taking vitamin D. Right. And so the concept is we can utilize that massive purchasing power of people who are taking vitamin D, and then we could take $5 from every bottle and funnel that towards organizations like we've been talking about. I mean, we could make a big difference in this human trafficking crisis.
So I'm assuming people can order.
Yes. So now that you asked, let me tell you, we have a great website, vitamindtotherescue.com. And we will be happy to ship you a bottle of vitamin D anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had them just ship 2 bottles to my nieces recently. So.
Well, so Dr. Lee, what I'm hearing when I'm listening to you talk, my mind never quits. It's never just a scary thing.
Never quits.
But what I'm hearing is how can we in our daily life do something that makes an impact in this situation? And you literally use the product that you believe in and started a little company to have those proceeds go to something that's going to make a difference in somebody's life.
That's right.
And that's the question we all have to ask ourselves in our businesses. What is it that we can do that's going to make a difference? And to start getting involved in some of these organizations. Listen, when more people are involved, there is less chance of someone getting taken.
Absolutely.
And I'm in awe of this whole conversation reality. And I had known the statistics about Charlotte being a hub, which has made me more aware of my own, my own self as I'm out and about. Mm-hmm. I'm old though; people don't want me, but but I'm feeling more of a passion about this subject than I've ever felt. So,
and one of the things that we share with Dr. Lee is actually that we actually, as Smith & Wiggins, believe in social entrepreneurism.
Oh yeah.
We believe that you have to not only, great, everybody wants financial security. And
right.
And we do things for financial purposes, even with a podcast. But we also believe that change comes from the people who take a stand and do what is right and put into motion things that make a change.
That's right.
And that's one of these great concepts out there that do this. I can't wait to see what lies ahead for you, Dr. Lee. I've been excited ever since you introduced the concept. Now, did you actually mention the website name, or do we need to Google that too?
Yeah,
well, I know my website.
vitamindtotherescue.com.
There you go.
vitamindtotherescue.com. That's right.
And actually, just as a little plug, and we'll get you the information if you want to email us. But the person that designed his website designed ours as well.
Oh, yes.
So, we have.
She does great work.
Yeah,
yes. That's
right. All right. So they also can find you on Facebook, right?
Yes. Yep. Facebook/Vitamin D to the Rescue.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely follow that website or Facebook page also.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other points you want to make, Brandon, before we actually wrap our time up together?
Well, if I may,
yes, please.
there is a certain percentage of the population that will just never take vitamins, and obviously that's not my market. But there is a huge percentage of the population that does take vitamins, and being a healthcare provider, I actually have access to vitamins that are higher quality than you can actually buy just in a normal store. And so, and I also want people to know I'm not making this in my basement.
No, that's absolutely not. Right.
We use a manufacturer that has been at the forefront of the functional medicine movement for over 30 years. So this is the way I like to describe it is you could go to CVS and you could buy a really cheap bottle of vitamin D, and the people who do that, they have no idea if it's actually making a difference in their health. Well, this one is such high quality that you could get your blood level tested and then find out what your level is, and then you could take this and get it tested again, and you're going to know, you're going to see a difference.
You're going to see a result.
There's actually objective improvement. This is I stand behind the quality. Because first and foremost, we have to be a quality vitamin D company, and then secondarily is the non-profit, is the what's that called? The philanthropic.
Yeah, I can't say that word.
If it's working and people can tell a difference, then they're going to keep reordering from you, which keeps making a difference.
Exactly.
Imagine how that works.
Smith, I love you.
Well, she is our marketing girl. That's
I'm all sales all the time.
All sales all the time. Yeah. She does the sales, I do the marketing. Yeah, all right. Well, Dr. Lee, we are so grateful for you, and we thank you so much for being on board today. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. It's an honor to be with you.
Yeah. So, if there are any other podcast hosts that are listening to the show or watching the show on YouTube, please get a hold of us. We would love to put you in touch with Dr. Lee, or actually you can just go to the site, vitamindtotherescue.com, and he will definitely answer those emails that come in through the site as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and be sure you say, hey, the Smith and Wiggins show told me to call.
That's right. Tell them all about it. Say we're the ones that sent you. Maybe we'll get an extra $1 to the cause.
That's right. We'll help you out.
There you go. So, all right, everybody. Well, you have been watching and listening to the Smith and Wiggins show.
And I'm Smith.
And I'm Wiggins. We're very grateful that you're here today. We'll see you next time right here. This is
he cut all that passed out. Take 47.